Hello you guys, welcome back. So today's tutorial is going to be a technique that I created myself. I call it the glow stick effect. I mentioned it in my last tutorial. So I'm going to teach you how I do that. So with the glow stick tutorial, the point of it is to like color around an object. It could be around a character on a coloring page. It could be a letter, a name, a tree, a snowman, like literally any object you want, to make it appear like it has like a glowy effect behind the object. So today we're going to be working with the color blue. I have no idea what object to draw. I'm just going to do something simple, like a letter. Let's think. How about we go with the letter C for cosmic for my name? Okay, so let's just draw the letter C. You don't have to do a letter. You can do a letter if you want. Maybe do the first letter of your name. C. There we go. And then I'm just going to draw a square around it so we have like an area that we'll be coloring in. Looks more like a rectangle. So you don't have to do a letter. You can do a circle. A circle's pretty basic and more of a simpler shape, or a square. Or you could do a letter like me, whatever you choose. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so first we're gonna go in with our white pencil crayon, PC938. And we're going to color around the object. So if it's a circle, color around, a square, a letter, a shape, whatever you're doing. You take your white pencil crayon and you just color little circles around the edge of your shape. So all the way around. I'm using full pressure, full firm pressure when I'm doing this white. Basically tracing your object with your white pencil crayon. And the reason I color it in circles is because I find that coloring in circles blends together easier when you're blending multiple colors together versus when you're coloring horizontally or vertically. I just find that it doesn't blend as smoothly together for me. Maybe if you color in horizontal and vertical, it works for you. Like whatever works for you, you can do. I just prefer circles because I find that it blends together better. So don't make the line too thin, like make it kind of thick, but not too thick, kind of just the thickness you see me doing here. Then we're gonna go in with our lightest shade of blue. So when you're picking your colors, pick 3 shades of one color, a light, a medium, and a dark. So you could do a light pink, a medium pink, and a dark pink, or with any color you want, purple, red, any color. Today I'm choosing blue. So we're gonna go in with our lightest shade of blue, and I chose Cloud Blue 1023, and we're gonna do the exact same thing we just did with the white, but with the baby blue. So we're going around the white with the baby blue. So basically the same exact thing we did with the white, we're doing with the baby blue. well, the cloud blue, I should call it, because that's the name of the color. And again, I'm using full firm pressure. I'm not doing medium pressure here. I'm adding full pressure when I'm putting this color down. Then we're going to go in with our medium shade of blue, which is True Blue 903, and do the same thing again. Now, when you're working with the medium and dark shades, don't use full firm pressure because they can leave a really dark line or color on your page, which makes it harder to blend them. So with this medium blue, we're just using like medium to light firm pressure. Do not use full pressure because then it will be harder to blend your dark shades together. And if the letter, like if you chose a letter for your shape and areas are really squishy, just do whatever you can fit in. It's not gonna perfectly fit in when you're in tight corners. That's okay. Just do whatever you can fit in of that color. If your fingers or your thumb feels a little bit sore, that's normal. If you ever at any point in time find that I'm coloring too fast, you can just pause me and just catch up and unpause it. That's okay. Keep in mind, I've had a lot of practice, lots of years I've been coloring, so if you're a beginner and this is your first time doing this type of thing, it's completely normal for it to take much longer. Don't be discouraged about that. When I was learning how to do these techniques, it took me a long time to figure things out. Some people are slower, some people are faster. I'm just trying to make sure all the paper is mostly covered, but I just don't want it to be firm pressure. And then we're going to go in with our last shade of blue, which is our dark shade, Copenhagen Blue 906. And again, we're going to do the exact same thing again. And again, we're not using full firm pressure, we're using medium pressure. Now this letter C does not have to match, like the object in the middle doesn't have to match the glow effect that we're doing, this glow stick effect that we're doing behind the letter C. You can if you want it to be something that matches whatever your object is. You can pick the same color that the object is, or you can make it a different color. Like I could color this letter C black, I could color it blue. I could color it red if I wanted to, if I wanted just to have a blue glow behind a red letter C. Really, you can just do whatever you want. I think in this case, I'm going to choose the medium shade of blue, which is True Blue 903 to color my letter C in. I'm just going to do it lightly for now, just to map that color out and have it there. I'm not going to use full pressure right now. I'll do that later on, because I want to focus on the glow stick effect and not coloring the letter C right now. So you can color your shape whatever color you want. You can pick one of these shades of blue that you're working with, or you could color it in black. Just don't color it in white, because white will take away from the glow stick effect. And I'm going to outline the C with a black marker after too. We'll do that after. Okay, now we're going to go back to our white pencil crayon. And what we're going to do is we're going to blend the light blue and the medium blue together and pull it towards the white. So we're going to pull these three colors together all down towards the white. We are not going to touch the dark blue. So we'll start here. You can see I'm going to go in circles, and I'm pulling the medium blue into the light blue, and then I'm pulling it down to the white. So we're basically mixing all three of these colors together, the white, the light blue, and the medium blue. And do not mix the dark blue. I'm using pretty firm pressure here. If you need to take breaks because your fingers are sore, that's completely normal. Just pause the video, take a break. If you need to go eat or take a snack, you can always note the time where the video's at and do it another day or do it later on. You don't have to do the whole tutorial in one sitting. So the light blue that I chose is very, very, very light. Now that I'm blending it together, I wish I chose a slightly darker shade for the light blue, because it's really nice when there's multiple shades. It still is blending in there, but it just gives like more dimension having different shades of blue. Which it is in there, like the light blue's still in there, because if I had just the white and only the medium blue, it wouldn't be having the same effect, because it is filling in the paper with that lighter shade of blue. But if I were to do it over again, I would probably pick a slightly darker shade of light blue for my light shade. But it still looks fine, like the effect is turning out the way that I want it to. I'm just going to do this all the way around the object, whatever your object is. If it's a circle or shape, whatever you chose to draw, a square. And we're just going to mix that medium blue, the light blue, and pull it into the white too. Like pull it all the way down into the white. We're not trying to completely erase the white that we've put down and make it entirely blue. Like I'm leaving a little bit of white closest to the object. Again, I'm using full pressure here when I'm doing this. And if you experiment on different shapes, coloring pages even can be really nice using this effect. Doing somebody's name is really nice. A rose, a car, like just so many things you can put this effect around, and it just really gives like a nice look, in my opinion. And especially when you try different colors. Different colors can look really nice. So yeah, I ended up deciding not to speed up this part of the video so you can see in real time how long it takes me. Of course, you can fast forward this if you want to get to the next step. You could see me working on the next step if you don't want to watch this in real time. Because I just wanted to have it in real time, so if people wanted to color along with me, they would have that option. And again, don't be discouraged if I'm going much faster than you can like keep up with, because I've done this glow effect many times and had lots of practice with it. So just keep in mind that if yours doesn't turn out exactly like mine, it's okay. It takes practice. Trying it a couple of times, several times, however many times you need to practice it to get the hang of it, to learn how to blend and mix the colors together. And maybe it's really easy for you. Everybody's different. There we go. It's all blended together. I'm going to dust off into the garbage the crumbs. I'm using a mop paintbrush to do that. I just wipe it off into the garbage like this. Okay. Now we are going to get our black pencil crayon. And we are going to trace around our shape. This is very similar to our Galaxy Cloud tutorial in a black background, how we made the gradient. If you watched that tutorial already, maybe you did or didn't, but it's the same idea where we're leaving a little bit of paper to make our own color with the blue and the black, which you'll see me do in a moment, which will be our gradient to mix into the black sky. So here we're just going to color a very light black. This is where we're going to be mixing a little bit of a gradient to mix into the black sky. And now I have not figured out how, or I have not tried, I should say yet, how to do this glow stick tutorial on white cardstock paper with markers or pencil crayons on cardstock. I've only done this technique on this toned tan paper by Strathmore. So I'm yet to try it on cardstock paper, which I'm sure I could figure it out. So when I'm doing this, I'm not coloring hard, I'm coloring very lightly. And then we're going to color the background around this shape in solid black. So everything back here is going to be solid black. Full, complete, firm pressure when we're doing this. Everything is shaking. My markers on my desk are rattling and shaking. When I color full pressure, it shakes my desk a bit. It's obviously a little bit messy because it's just a random square that I drew. trying to be perfect or super neat with the outside of the square right now. Just trying to show you guys how to do the glowy part. I'm gonna color the other side. I'm trying not to lean my hand into the black because black is very messy. Do the same thing all everywhere in the background that's not colored in. We're going to color it in. I'm just going to make my square a little bit bigger here. The edge is so tiny. With the background, you don't have to color in circles. You can color horizontally, vertically, whatever you got to do to get the background colored in. If it's a project, I do recommend trying to stay like in one direction is better. But if you're able to color horizontally and vertically and not have all your line work showing and it looks blended together, that should be fine. Okay, so we got the background colored in. I'm going to shake that off into the garbage. I'm going to use my brush, my paint brush, to make sure all the crumbs are off of it. Okay, sorry, I just cracked my knuckles in your ear. Now we're going to go and get our darkest shade of blue, Copenhagen blue 906. And what we're going to do now is we're going to mix this light black here with the dark blue. So we're going to basically pull this light black that we have here and mix it all together with the dark blue. So this is our gradient right here. So the black and the blue is mixing together, and we're mixing it all around into the dark blue. So it just gives like an edge of like a mucky like dark blue black before we pull the black into this color that we're making right now. Blacky blue, we'll call it blacky blue. The black blue, the color we have invented. Just going all the way around. I'm pretty much using full firm pressure when I'm doing this because I'm trying to really get that black mixed in with the blue. And you can see right there, it's like making a different shade of blue because it's mixing in with the black. I'm just pulling it right into the dark blue that's sitting right here. So I blend the black and blue together, then I pull it down into the dark blue. Just try to mix, like push and pull and mix them all together. And if you feel like your blue isn't looking like a blacky blue, I made that word up, yes I did. Just maybe add a little bit more black here. Like if you need to go a little bit darker because maybe you colored it too light, you can color it a little bit darker if you want. If you feel like you're not getting a mixed color, you can go with a little bit more pressure like that. Just, you don't need to go as dark as this, but if you need to add a little bit more black, you could do that if you feel like you're not really getting a mix when you're mixing it together. I feel like I'm seeing enough black in mine that it's working okay for me, but if you need to add some more black, you could do that. Like here, I'm going to add a little bit more black because there's blue on both sides, so I want to add some more black there. this last little part at the bottom. Not very much black is here because it's the edge of the square. So you'll find that depending on the shape or whatever piece of art you're doing this glow stick effect on, that you have to decide what, before you make the glow stick effect, if you have enough space to make the blends. Sometimes there won't be as much black around the area. Like here, there's no black underneath. So I'm going to be just blending out the blue into the glowy part later on, which you'll see me do that at a later step. Okay, I'm going to shake that into the garbage. Okay, we're going to go back to our darkest shade of blue, Copenhagen Blue 906. And now what we're going to do is we're going to soften that edge where the gradient blue black we just made and the black sky. Right down the middle, there's a line separating the black sky from that new color. We're just going to go right down the middle and soften that line. So how we do that is we just go press circles in circles directly down the middle of that line. It's kind of like we're erasing that line right down the middle. Right down the middle. Zoom in a bit. So you can see here, the line is very distinct from the sky and the color we just made. And then when I just did here, I softened it. So it's not perfectly like invisible, but it's softening that harsh line. And I'm adding firm pressure, switching between like medium firm pressure and very firm pressure, whatever you need to do to mix that line. And I'm not trying to pull it over here into the blue because we don't want to erase the work that we just did there. So I'm just staying right in the middle, erasing that line. And over here, you can see it's really dominant, the line separating the two sides. I'm just going right down the middle, basically erasing that line. In a kind of way. I'm trying my best to explain myself here. Just round in circles. You can really see the difference between here, it's a solid line, and here, there's no longer a solid line. So just coloring in circles right down the middle of that line to soften it. And we're going to keep doing that around, that's too far out, around the whole letter C. Where's that song coming in my head now? C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is, remember that song? No, just me? Cookie Monster used to sing that song when I was a kid. Yeah, I liked Sesame Street when I was a kid. Okay. Here's a little bit hard because, again, it's the end of the square, so I'm just going to color it in blue and try to curve it around there because there's not much of a black sky right there. Do the best that I can. So any tight spots that you get on your letter or your shape, just do the best that you can with the space that you have to color it. Then I'm going to shake that off in the garbage, wipe it off with my brush. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna just color the C in. So you can color your shape in. You don't have to color your shape in if you don't want to, because the point of this tutorial is the glow stick, which is what we're doing in the background, but I just feel like I want it to look nice. So I'm just gonna color in my shape, which you could do that too if you want, or you can just fast forward this part if you don't feel like coloring in your shape. Whatever color you choose, you could choose one of the colors we're working with, which I think would look nicer if you do choose one of the colors you're already working with, because it'll match better, but you don't have to. The only color I would say not to do is white. Don't do white. Try to stick to medium tones, darker tones. Probably like the light blue wouldn't be a good choice either. Like the medium blue, the dark blue. I probably wouldn't do black, but you could do black if you want. just because the sky is already black in the background. And you can also do the same technique I'm doing here right now. Instead of doing the dark black for the background, you could pick an even darker shade of blue to replace the black. If you didn't want a black sky, you could do like a really, really dark navy blue. Same with any other color you pick. If you're doing pink or red or purple, if you don't want to have the black in the background, you could just pick an extremely dark shade to do the darkest. I'll just call it the sky in the background. I'm gonna shake this off in the garbage again. Whenever I do that, I use this brush to help me get the crumbs off my paper when I'm putting it into the garbage. Okay, and now we're going to need our Colourless. I forgot to sharpen it beforehand. Let's sharpen it right now. Our Colourless pencil crayon. 1077. Scrap piece of paper. If your paper starts to curve, that's normal. Whenever you color pencil crayon with firm pressure, your paper sometimes can start to warp. I just gently fold my paper, like roll it in the opposite direction to get it to lay flat, back flat again. And if it's really a problem, you can frame your art. You could put it in between pages of a heavy book to like get it to lay flat. I'm just going to scribble on a scrap piece of paper to make a flat edge on my pencil so it's easier for blending. Now we're going to blend the colors we have on the paper to soften the edges. So I'm mostly going to be focusing on the medium blue, the dark blue we have here that we mixed earlier with the black. And I'm just going to be softening this line that's separating the light blues and the whites from this mix we made. So that line right down the middle, this line right here, that's separating these two, we're going to soften it right down the middle. So we're just going to go in circles down the middle of that line to soften it. Now when you're doing this, it's not going to be as straightforward as the black one we just did. We're going to be going a little bit back and forth, like into the mix over here, into the white, like whatever you got to do to soften that line. So it's not going to be just straightforward right down the middle, which we are doing, but we're kind of going on both sides. Like we're dipping in there, we're pulling it over into the white. And there'll be a lot of color that picks up on your pencil tip, as you see there. It doesn't look very much, but it is a lot when you're blending. Just wipe it off on a scrap piece of paper, because every time it picks up too much color, then it will be moving too much color around when you're trying to soften the color, and it's putting too much color. So you just keep wiping it off on a scrap piece of paper. My kids are just letting me know our Walmart delivery arrived. Some of our groceries. Okay, so yeah, so you see how I am going down the middle, but see, okay, when I go down the middle in circles, right, to soften that line, I'm kind of making a new line right there. So this is why I'm wiping it off to make my pencil just no color again, because this is a colorless pencil crayon, and I'm going to soften that line, like the edge of this line, because I made a new line now separating the light from that new mess I just made. So I'm softening that out, going in circles between light and medium pressure every time I do this. So the point is just to keep blending it till it looks mixed in like that. So you kind of play around with like mixing that initial line, wiping off your tip to clean it off, going back in with the light area. Just be very careful not to pull too much dark in towards the lighter, whitest area, which is near the center of your object. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around the letter or object or whatever you've drawn. Pulling in there, softening the edge. Anytime you see an edge where like two colors are being separated by a line, that's where you're trying to go in circles and smudge it out. And this takes practice. Remember, I've been doing this for a long time. coloring these glowy effect things, galaxy stuff, and several years actually. So if it looks easy for me and you're having a little bit of trouble, do not be discouraged, because keep in mind I took several months of practice to get these techniques down. They didn't just happen right away, but maybe you're super skilled and you can do this right away and it might be easy for you. Everybody is different. Sometimes we need more practice to get the hang of something. Sometimes you can get it right away. It took me about 6 months to get the hang of the galaxy coloring and all this blending and stuff. So, and don't let that discourage you either, because it might not take you 6 months to get the hang of it, because like, again, nobody taught me this technique. I made this technique up myself to try to get a glowy effect around something. It took me several tries of like, I don't know, trying different things, trying to figure out how to make it work. And then finally I figured this out and I liked how it looked. But it took me several attempts of practicing and trying to get what I was thinking in my imagination to come out on the paper. So see how dark that is? Because obviously that mix had black in it. It had black and dark blues in it, so it's really dark shades. So this is why I keep wiping it on the scrap paper, and then when I go to blend it in the lighter area, I'm more gentle how I apply my pressure. I don't press as hard as I was pressing when I initially do this line. I'm much more gentle when I'm coloring it in the white, because I don't want to turn the white really dark. So I'm trying my best to be more gentle when I'm blending it in the lighter area. Just keep doing that, going in circles to soften that line. My desk is so squeaky today. I think something is touching the wall. It's making my desk so squeaky when I'm coloring. Hopefully it doesn't sound annoying on your guys' end. So depending how big your object is and how big your background is, this technique actually can take quite a while. There's a lot of blending, a lot of, as you can see, because you've been here with me this whole time, a lot of layers of blending, and depending how big your background is or how big your object is, it definitely can take some time. But in the end, I think it's worth it because it gives a really cool effect to your art. I showed one of my art pieces in my last tutorial. What tutorial was it? The pencil crayon galaxy clouds in color and black. At the end of that tutorial, I showed a Pokemon that I colored with this effect. Coincidentally, it was blue also, blue and black. So you can see how I'm just going down that line, but I am going back and forth into the white. I'm going back in the dark. I'm wiping it off on the paper. I'm just trying to really soften that line in the middle, and then whatever new lines I make, I'm just going in millions of circles to blend them out. Lots and lots of circles. And the closer I get to the white, I use less pressure. I promise I can talk. Less pressure is what I'm trying to say. If you guys end up using this and you're on socials, tag me in your socials so I can see that you actually understood my tutorials. It's so encouraging to me. Like, I see that people are viewing my tutorials, but I haven't gotten any tags that anyone has used any of them on socials. It would just be cool if you tag me so I can see that you guys actually understood what I taught and you actually were able to do what I was teaching. I'm hoping I'm teaching well enough, because I'm just like not a professional. I'm not an art teacher. I'm just a mom who does this for a hobby, and I'm just trying my best to share what I've learned with other people, because I've gotten so many requests for tutorials. So I'm doing my best to explain how I do this so that you guys can also do it. All my socials have the same username, _Cosmic Galaxies _. You could find me on TikTok, Instagram. Scrap paper is getting all used up. I need to get another piece. There we go. Just to soften that new mess I just made. So basically, if it's not blending the way you want it to, and you just feel like something's just not working, that normally means you have to wipe off your pencil on a scrap piece of paper, because there's too much color on it, and you're just moving around too much color. That's why you see me continually wiping it off, because I just want to move the color around on the paper, and that's why this pencil crayon, I love it, because it doesn't add any more color. It's just wax with no color, but it does stick to the tip, and it's good to like keep wiping off the tip on a scrap paper. Especially when you're moving into the lighter areas, you don't want your tip to have too much dark color picked up on it, and that's why you see me keep wiping it off on a scrap paper. And obviously you can take time with this. I'm trying to go through this as quickly as possible so the tutorial won't be too long for you. But you can take your time and color slowly and make the blend really neat. I'm obviously going a little bit faster here because I don't want you guys having to wait forever for the tutorial to end. So I'm kind of doing it faster than like normal. Still looks fine. There we go. Basically blended. I'm just going to wipe it off into the garbage. The paper's curling, so I'm just going to gently bend it so it lays more flat. There we go. So see, you can already see the glowy effect is coming through. Like just the overall look of it is doing what I intended it to do. Then I'm going to take a makeup sponge. I used this for my last tutorial actually. There's some red and black on there. I get these from the dollar store, a whole bag for $1.50. They're just cosmetic wedges. You can use a piece of tissue or toilet paper. Just be more gentle with those because they tend to take up more color off the paper. And I just gently smudge around all the waxy lines because there's a lot of shiny waxy lines from the Colourless blender, and I'm just pushing them into the paper very gently, and this kind of smudges them into the paper so you don't see all the waxy lines in the same way. Now to completely get rid of your shine on your paper, you can use finishing spray, which I do with all my pencil crayon artwork. The finishing spray will, if you pick a matte finishing spray, it will make your paper not so shiny from your pencil crayons. Okay, so for my black liner, I'm going to line the shape. For me, it is a letter C for Cosmic. I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, and I'm using the nib in 1.5. That is the size of the nib, is 1.5. These are my favorite black liners. I've used a lot of other black liners, and I absolutely adore these because when I'm lining anything over pencil crayon, especially the Prismacolor Premier pencil crayons, they're very soft core wax, and other liners I've used get blocked really easily by the wax. But I find with these, it doesn't block my tips with the wax. But I'm very careful to wipe my tips off on a scrap piece of paper, like I'm about to do. So I just randomly just wipe, like go in a circle, and just like, it doesn't seem like anything's happening, but there is. Like, it's taking the wax off, just to keep my tip clean. But other brands, like, I don't even have the option to keep drawing so smoothly with my ink because the pencil crayon will block the tips so quickly. So these I can do a lot more drawing before I have to wipe them. Like, I could keep going, but this is how I keep my tips juicy, and so they don't dry out. I just keep wiping them on a scrap paper. So outline your shape with a black marker. You don't have to use the brand I'm using. You can use whichever you want. This is just my preference. I think they're excellent quality, and I would highly recommend them. Everything you need will obviously be in the description that I've used in this tutorial. And the last thing we will need is a UniPosca Paint Pen. I always use the 0.7mm pin type. Shake it up, get it ready to go. Pump it on the paper and get it primed and get ready, and just pumping it on the paper like this just to get the ink flowing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trace the letter C closest to the C with this paint pen in the lightest area, which is the white. So right along the edge of the black marker, we're going to do the white paint pen. And if you go onto the black marker, you can just go back over with the black marker after. I do that by an accident sometimes. Like, I might go onto the black too far. I'll just wait for the white ink to dry, and then I'll go back over it with the black marker. So just trace whatever your shape was. It could be a circle, whatever shape you did. And sometimes you could feel the wax trying to block the tip of my UniPosca. So I'll pump it and prime it like on a scrap piece of paper. That's what you hear me doing off to the side there, just to keep the ink flowing. I prefer the UniPoscas over like Jelly Roll and other white paint pens. Hi, Ollie. My cat's saying hi. Just because they work the best, in my opinion, of drawing over thick Prismacolor waxy pencil crayons, because other brands that I use, like Jelly Roll, etc., you just have to do a lot more scribbling on a scrap piece of paper to keep the ink flowing, and I find that the UniPoscas work the best for me on top of pencil crayon, especially the Prismacolor Premiers, because like I said, they're soft core wax, so it's almost like it waterproofs your paper. And yeah, it can be challenging for Jelly Rolls to do this. Like, you could do this with a Jelly Roll, it just might take a more layers. More scribbling on a scrap piece of paper. See, I went on the black ink right there a little bit. So now this technique is not a galaxy technique. It's just a glow stick. That's what I've named it. A glow stick effect. And whatever you're doing on your art, it can really like look pretty cool. Make something stand out in your art. I prefer to use black in the background just because it really makes it pop. But like I said, you could do a dark blue instead of the black. You don't have to use the black for the background. And that's it, guys. That is how I do my glow stick effect around objects to make them pop out. Yeah, try it out. Try it out with different shapes and objects and backgrounds, and just see what you can come up with, and try different colors too. If you're going for coloring pages, I just pretty recently started coloring a lot of coloring pages, probably within the last year or a little bit less than that. And what I do is when I order a coloring book, what I'll do is I'll tear out the paper, the coloring book page that I want to color, and I'll just photocopy a copy of the page on this paper, on the tone tan paper, so that I can do effects like this and other effects, because I find that this paper is my favorite paper to work with. I do like cardstock also, but toned tan is one of my favorite papers. I just love how it works with markers. I love how it's really easy to make whites really pop out, because obviously the paper is not white. So these type of effects are really great with the toned tan paper. I'm sure I could figure out how to do this glow stick effect on cardstock paper. I'll just have to try it out a few times before I make a tutorial for you guys. No promises on that one yet, because I haven't done it on white paper, so I'd have to figure out how to do it on white paper so it would really have the same effect as this on the tone tan, which is really, really nice. I like how it turns out. Yeah, so that's everything. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments and I'll get back to you. Okay, bye guys.